It starts with a question that keeps millions of families awake at night. If my mother goes into a nursing home, will the government take her house? For Maggie, that question wasn't theoretical. It was personal. Her mother, Lillian, was 82, and her health was fading fast. She couldn't live alone anymore. The only thing she wanted was peace, dignity, and a little comfort in her final years. But as Maggie started researching nursing homes, she found something she didn't expect: a rule buried inside the Medicaid system that could cost her mother everything she'd ever worked for. Her home, her legacy, her final wish, gone. And as she dug deeper, she realized this wasn't just a story about one woman's home. It was a story about how America treats its elderly. The system nobody understands. Here's what most people don't realize. Medicare, the program most retirees rely on, doesn't cover long-term care. If you want a nursing home, daily help, or assisted living, you have to rely on Medicaid, the safety net for the poor. But there's a catch. To qualify, you must be almost broke. In Florida, for example, you can't earn more than $2,901 per month, and you can't have more than $2,000 in countable assets. That means savings, investments, even retirement accounts. All fair game. And if you own a home, well, that's where things get complicated and heartbreaking. The hidden trap in the rules. Lillian had worked her entire life for one thing: her small house in Florida. She wanted to leave it to Maggie, the daughter who had taken care of her through everything. But when Maggie started filling out the Medicaid paperwork, she found the line that made her stomach drop. Home ownership may affect eligibility or recovery. In plain English, that meant Medicaid could take the house. Unless Lillian met certain exemptions, being married, having a disabled child, or proving she intended to return home, her property might be counted as an asset. Her home was worth about $300,000 below Florida's $730,000 limit, so technically she qualified. But once she moved into the nursing home permanently, the state could still claim it after her death under something called estate recovery. It wasn't just bureaucracy, it was a ticking time bomb. The emotional toll. The house wasn't just a property. It was where Maggie grew up. The backyard still held the marks of her childhood swing set. Her mother's garden bloomed with every season. Now, the government saw it as a number on a balance sheet. Every conversation with Medicaid representatives felt cold, scripted, and hopeless. It didn't matter that this house had been her mother's dream. It was an asset, and assets could be taken. Lillian didn't understand any of it. "I worked all my life," she said softly, "and now they can just take it?" Maggie had no answer. Only the heavy silence of a daughter realizing the system didn't care about love, it cared about value. The fine print. Nobody reads buried deep in the Medicaid handbook is something called the Estate Recovery Program. It allows states to reclaim costs for care from the deceased person's estate. That includes the home. Even if it's legally protected during life, once the person passes away, Medicaid can come back to collect. It's like a debt that doesn't die when you do. There are exceptions. If there's a surviving spouse, a disabled child, or if the home's recovery would cause undue hardship. But Maggie didn't fit any of those boxes. Her mother's house, the one thing she thought she'd inherit, was now just a line item in a ledger somewhere. The fight to hold on Maggie wasn't ready to give up. She found forums, lawyers, and stories from people who'd beaten the system. They talked about irrevocable trusts and 5-year look-back rules, tools that could have protected her mother's home if they'd acted sooner. But they hadn't. Now, every day brought new bills, new rules, new barriers. If they transferred the home now, Medicaid could accuse them of asset hiding. If they kept it, the state would take it later. It was a cruel paradox, a choice between losing everything now or later. The unseen cost of growing old Lillian's condition worsened. Maggie spent her nights beside her mother's bed, filling out forms under flickering hospital lights. She began to see the truth. This system wasn't built for families like hers. It was built to drain them, of savings, energy, and hope. For decades, her mother had paid taxes, worked hard, and played by the rules. But when she finally needed help, those same rules turned against her. It wasn't neglect. It was design. The harsh reality of waiting too long. By the time Maggie found an elder law attorney, it was too late. The lawyer looked at her and said, "If you'd come to me 5 years ago, we could have saved the house." Those words haunted her. This is how the system works. If you plan early, you can protect what you've built. But if you wait until you're sick, you're already out of time. Maggie learned that Medicaid isn't for the middle class. It's for the people who already have nothing left, and that's when it hit her. This isn't a safety net. It's a slow-motion liquidation of the American dream, the breaking point. When love collides with the system, the notice arrived quietly. Lillian filed against property. Maggie didn't cry. She just stared at the paper, numb. Her mother's house, her entire life, now belonged to the state. Lillian didn't understand. "I thought Medicaid was supposed to help." "It did, Mom," Maggie whispered. "It just costs more than we thought." That's the part no one tells you, that the system's help always comes with a price, a home, a legacy, a memory. In that moment, Maggie realized something deeper. America doesn't just have a healthcare problem, it has a human problem. We've built a system that makes families choose between care and inheritance, between love and survival. When the house finally sold, Maggie walked through it one last time. She touched the kitchen counter, the garden door, the faded family photos. "They took everything," she said softly. "But they can't take this. Because memories don't have deeds, and love can't be repossessed." The lesson, what this story teaches us. When everything was gone, the bills paid, the house emptied, Maggie sat on the porch where her mother used to drink morning coffee. She realized this story wasn't about losing a house. It was about losing faith in a system that asks too much from those who've already given everything. Medicaid did its job. It gave her mother comfort and care, but the price was written in legacy, not money. And that's the cruel truth behind America's elder care. You can have care or inheritance. You can have comfort or security. Almost never both. The lesson? Don't wait. Talk about it early. Plan early. Protect what matters before the system forces your hand. Because when everything else is gone, love is what remains. And maybe that's the one thing even the government can't take away. Because the real cost of aging in America isn't just in dollars, it's in everything we stand to lose when we wait too long to fight for it.